Hello and welcome to Loud Creations. Today I am here with a new mead that I just started yesterday, and I just thought I'd make up a recipe for the new year, and hopefully it'll be ready in time for this season next year. That's my goal. So I'm calling this one my Berry, Serene, and Cheerful mead, and it's a Metheglin actually, because I'm using 3 herbs. And then also have mixed berries in here as well. So before I get into the contents and their medicinal value and all of that, I'll go ahead and just run through what I did to get to this point. I don't know if you can see, but it's happily bubbling away right now. It's just very happy right now. I already step fed it. I wish I had recorded that, but I didn't. I'm adding this to my backyard brews because 2 of the ingredients are for my backyard. The rest, the berries and one of the herbs, is not for my yard, but you know, I need to reorganize my playlist. So let's just go over the ingredients for the mead. Before I get into the ingredients for this, I just want to put a little disclaimer in that it is important to do your own research and use, reliable resources for the types of herbs and things if you're going to be playing with herbs and putting them into your mead. I highly recommend doing your research and or running it by somebody who is a professional or knowledgeable in that area to be sure that we're doing it safely. And also some herbs may be legal places and illegal other places. I don't know. Anyway. Back to the ingredients. So for this, I used lemon balm, which I picked over the summer and dried, so it's from my backyard. I used blue lotus flowers that were hanging out here for quite a while, so I thought I might as well use them. And then some chamomile, which I dried for my backyard as well. I also used lemon zest that I dried, I want to say it's at least a year ago. And then I used 2 pounds of mixed berries, just mixed berries from Costco, which were frozen, and then I let them thaw a little bit, although they're not super thawed, but I poured hot water on them. Yada, yada, yada. And then I used 2.5 to 3 pounds of raw honey. So I had a 3-pound container and I poured most of it in, but I didn't sit there and wait for it all to pour out. I'm guessing it's 2 3/4 pound of raw honey. And I also threw in a bag of black tea, because why not? And I used D47 yeast and Go Firm. So I did feed the yeast. I put some nutrient in there. I'm also step feeding this, which I think I said earlier. I step fed it right before starting this video. I wish I had just saved it and I could have done it here with y'all, but that's not how it worked out. So here we are, and it's bubbling away. The process, I boiled about half a gallon of water, and while that was boiling, I went ahead and I was going to weigh out my blue lotus and lemon balm, doing about 5 grams each. Maybe that was, I don't know, my scale wasn't working. As you can see in the video, I put a bunch of flowers in there and it didn't change, so I went ahead and went with half a cup. I went with roughly half a cup of blue lotus and lemon balm, which I added to a mesh bag, along with about 1/3 cup of chamomile. And I tied off the mesh bag, and when the water was boiling, I went ahead and added that to the water, covered it, and let it steep for 10 to 15 minutes. And while that was happening, I went ahead and I added my berries to the Big Mouth bubbler, along with 3 or 4 little pieces of the lemon zest. I would say it's the zest of like maybe 1/3 of a lemon. Once the tea was done, I went ahead and removed the tea bag, squeezed out a little bit, but not too much, and went ahead and poured some of that along with a little bit of honey into a cup for my Go Firm. I added half a teaspoon of Go Firm to that, stirred it up, set it aside to let that get going. And then I added my hot tea to the frozen berries and stirred that up really well. And the berries broke down pretty quickly doing that. I also added cool water, which cooled it down roughly to body temperature, And so it was hospitable for the yeast and for the pectic enzyme. I added half a teaspoon of pectic enzyme to help break down the berries and maybe hoping that it'll clear out nicely. So I topped it off with cool water. Then I added my yeast. I also put cool water in my Go Firm slurry and added the yeast and let that sit for a few minutes and then added it in. And I stirred this up for several minutes and get the oxygen in there, create a nice environment for the yeast, and labeled it. The original gravity was 1.090, and yeah, this is happily bubbling away. It started bubbling pretty quickly. D47 tends to have a quick start, I'm finding. That's the yeast that usually has resulted in needing a blow-off tube, because everything goes crazy here and it's like, pachoo. Anyway, so what am I getting at? So I don't know about you guys, but this last couple months of the year have been really heavy. I mean, for a number of reasons. And I wanted to have a mead for this time next year that is relaxing but bright and cheerful at the same time. And that's why I'm calling it Berry, Serene, and Cheerful, because sometimes, depending on what's going on in the world or what people have going on in their individual lives, this time of year can be really hard. And so I'm thinking of this as just kind of a little bright, sunny medicinal that I am making for the season. I'm also going to be adding, if it seems right, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be adding cinnamon in secondary. So it'll be spiced as well. So it'll give it that little kick, in addition to the properties of the herbs that I put in, which I will get into now. So I'll start off, and I have this book, but I mean, we all know about chamomile. I think by now most people do, but chamomile is known for its calming effects, but that has other elements to it as well. It is a good remedy for indigestion. It is anti-inflammatory. It can help with inflammation in the lower digestive tract. And yeah. So chamomile is relaxing, but it's also anti-inflammatory, and it helps with indigestion. So hey, why not add that to the mead? And then we have lemon balm, which is my favorite and also has taken over my backyard. So I have to just love the lemon balm. I make all kinds. I mean, I've even made lemon balm pesto, which maybe it was the recipe, but it didn't turn out great. I've made a lot of things with lemon balm, just put it that way. But it's most commonly used for the nervous system. It's a nervine. It helps relax the body. It soothes anxiety, stress, headaches, and it also has that bright lemony scent, and it has an uplifting element to it as well. So it helps relax, but also uplift at the same time, and that's what I like about lemon balm. I like to just go outside and like smell the leaves when they're you know, in season. They kind of smell like citronella candles though, but if you like citronella, I find the dried leaves smell like Fruit Loops to me. It helps with cognitive functioning. Lemon balm's kind of a cure-all. I mean, it has, let's see, lowers blood pressure. Let's see, helps with digestion and chronic fatigue and depression. Also helps with ADHD symptoms and dementia. I mean, the list goes on and on. I believe it also has it's antiviral. I'm pretty sure it has antiviral properties. Anyway, lemon balm. Here's my lemon balm. This is some of the dried lemon balm from the summertime, and then some of the chamomile. And then I also, which I didn't bring up with me, I also had some blue lotus flower. Now, blue lotus is a little different. From what I read, I think it's hit or miss whether or not it's considered safe. And so that's something that I highly recommend that people read up on. Somebody had given me some Blue Lotus to make tea out of, so I actually have made a tea with lemon balm, chamomile, Blue Lotus, and a lemon peel, and a little bit of lemon and honey, and that's a wonderful tea in the evening. The Blue Lotus I don't always put in there, but if I remember that I have it, it has more of a sedative effect. It's also considered a high vibrational plant, and so it's been used in spiritual practices as well. All of these plants have, but Blue Lotus is kind of one of those that it's been labeled as being very high vibrational, and I'm not sure exactly what that means, but maybe it's the sedative effect that it has that allows you to get into more of like a dream state or be open to that kind of, what am I getting at here? I'm going to just leave it at that. Let me read. I'm going to read what I have on Blue Lotus here. I think that would make it easier. Okay, so here we go. We're looking at Health Line for Blue Lotus. I moved on from the... So it is considered a psychoactive plant, also known as the Egyptian blue lotus or the blue water lily, or the sacred blue water lily. It's been used in traditional medicine for thousands of years. It's a natural aphrodisiac, sleep aid, and anxiety reliever. So it has that sedative effect, which just makes you feel an overall sense of serenity. And so according to this website, currently Blue Lotus isn't approved for human consumption in the United States. That said, it is not a controlled substance, and it's legal to be cultivated, sold, and purchased, except for in Louisiana. So can't have it in Louisiana. Anyway, these herbs, I think it's really important to have respect for the herbs and to understand what you're working with and try to be as knowledgeable as possible and safe. And this is why I made a tea. I'm not fermenting on the flowers just because I've had the tea and the tea is fine. And I want to make sure that I'm not going to get too much of any of the compounds in my mead. So that's just me. For safety reasons, I prefer to make a tea up front. I don't know if it's actually safer, but I feel like there's more control in that, so I can tell whether or not the tea is really strong, etc. Anyway, Blue Lotus. So that's where the Serenity comes from. Lemon balm and Blue Lotus and chamomile. Serenity, lemon balm, chamomile, and Blue Lotus can also help bring in some cheer. So that's what I'm going for 2024. So when I was coming up with this recipe and thinking about the herbs that I wanted to use, I wanted something also to kind of give, if I'm thinking about how I want to feel in the new year, if I want to feel at peace and content, but I also was thinking about that drive, you know, and having a little bit of fire in there. And so that's why I'm going to add cinnamon to secondary. And I found this website and talking about some of the properties of cinnamon or associations with cinnamon in folklore, as well as just medicinal uses. So spices were also used for healing in addition to just tasting good. And so this list that I found for cinnamon shows that it's been used for, it's believed to ward off negative energies and provide spiritual protection. It also is associated with abundance and prosperity. It's considered an aphrodisiac, so love and attraction. It's believed to enhance psychic abilities. And then the reason why I'm putting it in is it's like that fiery energy boost. So it's warm and stimulating. It can increase energy levels and motivation. So that's the mix that's going into this mead. And that's my wish for the new year for everybody, to have some peace, some joy, and some drive. Wishing you the best for 2024. I hope this video was useful, and I will see you next time. Thank you.